And so I'm so glad I'm able to talk to you aside from the party, which is really ramping up. How did you even begin? When I talked to Alan, he said he's worked with you, 35 plus years?
Yeah.
That communication that's between builder and architect. I write it, I draw it, I dream it, I think it, you actuate it. Now, he asked me to ask you, it's my question, where do you begin to, 3 years it took, it's quite a challenge. Tell me about the process.
From his plans, you get a sense of what he wants, and a lot of it, frankly, is my asking him a lot of questions. And I think where a lot of contractors go wrong is they don't ask. They're not very concerned about what the architect wants, and they're concerned about getting the job done quickly. But if you're concerned about what the architect wants, and you're detail-oriented, you ask a lot of questions. It doesn't take a lot of time, but you have to keep asking questions, and the architect has to be available to answer those questions, and Alan is. He's concerned about the details.
And so, do you do all of his projects, or most of his projects, or some of his projects? Like, how many can you actually accomplish in a year's time, or something like that?
Most of his work is actually large commercial.
Right, like
So,
amphitheaters.
He's doing concert halls. He did the Schilling Lou concert hall in Rockport, and he's done out in California. He's done concert halls. He's doing Indian Hills here in Massachusetts.
Yeah.
So it's mostly larger things. He doesn't do a lot of homes. The first one that I did with him was in pieces. It was a kitchen first with an addition, and then more of the house in Cambridge. And it was much like this in some ways.
Yeah. But it's residential that you work
Residential.
on with him?
Right.
But you've been in the industry now at least 30 years then.
Yes, and I wish all of my work were with him because it's, frankly, the more modern stuff to me is more interesting. New England folks are very traditional.
Takes
and
a long time to turn over,
it's
right?
colonial, it's a lot of moldings, it's the same gable roof. So yes, it's hard to break in here. If Alan were in California, he'd be wildly accepted. But we're coming along.
Yes, one residential at a time.
Right.
And I'm blown away. I'm blown away by this, but you can see the influence of those big theatrical venues.
Yes. The big open space.
This beckons for.
It just feels wonderful to me. There's something going on everywhere you look.
Indeed.
It's fabulous. It's not like a home that you normally walk into. There's something hanging from here. There are lights going on. There's
angles everywhere.
Hanging staircase. It's fabulous.
Yes.
And it's fun to work in. That's, to me, an awful lot of us in the trades go to work every day and we do the same job, and it's day after day, it's the same thing. With this, it's everybody in the trades who walks in goes, oh my God.
Right.
And whether they know it or not, they're having more fun that day than they are on the average job where we're building the same shapes.
Yeah. There's still pride in what you do no matter what, plan that you have.
Yes.
But when you're able to be stretched professionally, no matter what profession you're in, I think there's a sense of...
I don't know if it's even stretched so
Yeah.
much as it's interesting.
Yeah.
There's just so much that we do that's not that interesting. Here, it's interesting, but most people in the trades, it's how much can I get done today? And the more it's like it was yesterday,
Right.
the faster you can do it, and the more money you can make.
Right. But as a builder, do you sometimes think, I would just like to do it a little bit my way? Do you have any pushback a little bit with some of the designs? Because you're like, well, that sounds good in theory, but I really want to...
No, because Alan's got... I think I said to him a long time ago that I'm good at adjusting a plan that's already been made, but I'm not good at thinking of a whole new plan.
Yes.
And if he has a plan in mind, and frankly, it's very impressive to me that you come at it with an idea of what you want. I don't think that way. I think more of, okay, there is the plan. I'll make an improvement here and here and here that maybe he hasn't thought of because he's not a carpenter.
Right.
And a lot of that, he's impressed with it, but it's really because we work with the materials every day.
Yeah.
And we're more familiar. His office, every architect would be well served if they could come out in the field and do some of this stuff. They don't have time.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
they
that's
couldn't
like
do
so
it.
many careers.
Yes.
If you could
If you
play
could cross,
every level,
right.
then
But
we'd all
you don't have time to do it.
Right.
No, it wouldn't work. I mean, people in the trades often say the architect should have to work a couple years in the field before.
Yeah.
What that would do is it would dumb down what they're doing to what's possible.
Ah.
An awful lot
said.
of times
Good
when
point.
I'm talking to subcontractors, they'll say, I can't do something. You know, I'll ask them, this detail is drawn this way, let's do it like this.
Right.
And they say, I can't do that. And I say, you can't do it or you're not willing to do it. And they'll say, well, we can do it, but it's hard.
Yeah. Jeez.
Okay, so let's do the hard thing, but it
Yeah.
costs money to do the hard thing. So somebody's got to give.
Well, you did a lot in terms of creating all the drama, and he said on a budget that was a little bit lower than you might use. Where there's lots of moldings, or there's lots of woodworking type things. Like there was a lot of places where you were able to still maintain the integrity of what you were trying to do, but cut a lot of costs too. That's what he talked about.
And some of it, actually, when you say that there's not a lot of moldings, actually there's.
Yes,
It's almost hard.
I just use that as an example.
It's almost hard to do it without the moldings because some of the stripped down stuff, and again, it's used in California a lot,
Right.
so we're not used to it here. It's actually rather hard to make the very bare details look perfect.
right without that little
and that's-
cover,
Yes.
right? Because all the seams are showing.
Right. Moldings, people don't understand. Moldings
Moldings
are
are-
meant to cover a lot of sins, as they say in the trade.
I
So
know.
it's-
I
yes.
do know what you're exactly what
Yes.
you're talking about. I do. And so, how about we'll end it with this: the most difficult thing to actuate, and the one that you're the most proud of here. That you're just like, I've never done this, and we did it, and it looks so awesome.
There are a lot of things in this house. The windows, the way he designed the windows, they go right to. The roof is 2 pitches. And the windows go right up to the roof, and the ceiling looks like it goes right through into the outside. So what we did was the overhang on the outside of the building is in the same plane as the ceiling inside, and all the wood goes right through. That was his desire, and this is one thing that architects should do, and I've tried to talk Alan into doing it, is write me a description of what you want. Don't just draw a plan.
Oh, in words, maybe, right?
In words, say, I want the roof to look like it goes from the inside to the outside. Because that's what I get out of it eventually.
Right.
Is, the intent is that the ceiling looks like it goes across the windows and goes right outside. If you told me that, then I would know, okay, this is what you have. And a lot of my questions are
Right.
directed at what is it your intent?
Right.
Because the plans don't tell me that.
Yeah.
In a firm like Allen's, he's the head of the firm, so he's doing the sort of overall idea behind the whole plan, but somebody else is drawing a lot of it.
Right.
And then he goes in and he looks at what they've drawn and says, I want to change this and this. Sometimes if I had a little direction as to this is what the intent is. And I got that from him on this, which is, if you can't see it at night, but in the daylight you'll see that the wood ceiling, we matched the inside and the outside on the underside of the overhang. So if you look up through the window, you see a continuous, we matched the color, the lineup. That was fun. That was, to me, it's what am I proud of? Actually, what was the most fun? A flying staircase,
Yep, that's pretty cool.
the very high ceiling, the balls hanging, the lights. It's all fun.
It's all fun. And so tell me, as a little kid, how did you play with your toys? Was it evident that's what you were going to do when you were that age?
It was.
I believe if you let them, you allow them to be, then they'll show you pretty young their proclivity. So
It was. Erector sets way back
Yeah.
when we were kids, or
now
when I
you're
was a
dating
kid.
yourself.
Right. When I was a kid, before your
Yeah.
time. Yes, all kinds of blocks. I worked for a contractor when I was in high school. I would race home from work. Race home from school
Yeah.
and go to work in my neighborhood building houses. I went to college, I
Yeah.
went to graduate school, and there were no jobs. I was going to teach history. There are no jobs in that.
So your hands.
Back to
Now
doing. Somebody asked me to tile their counter. I tiled their counter, and it went from there. It's been great.
Well, you, your team, the whole. I mean, it's spectacular.
Thank you.
Good job.
We just do what Alan, the homeowner, want, which is they've been the most fun to work with. This is the best job, most fun job we've had ever. So.
And now it's filled with people. What more can
Yes.
you want?
Oh, it's spectacular.
Thank you, Matthew.
Tonight was a ball.